Hello and welcome to tonight's live weekly branding and marketing training. My name is Dave Bradbury, founder and lead project manager of brandabundance.com. Tonight we're here. We got something exciting, one of my favorite topics. We're going to get into the power of influence. Great book, Robert Chaildini. We've also got another book we're going to talk about called Pre-Suasion. And one we're not going to get in tonight, but I just love to show you guys that, I walk the walk that I talk. So here's another book I'm getting ready to get into. It's called Yes, 50 Scientifically Proven Ways to Be Persuasive. I mean, if you're trying to sell a service or a product, I'm pretty sure that that's important to you. So if you're new to the channel, let us know if you like the content by liking it, sharing it, subscribing to our channel. That way we know that we should produce more content like this. So first of all, I'd like to thank you for your time. We're going to keep it nice and short and sweet. I am by no means trying to be an influence expert. This is the expert right here. This guy's got case studies. There's plenty of information. You can search YouTube and find this man. It's a rabbit hole. I mean, we couldn't get into this if we had 4 hours probably. I mean, because there's so many things to get into, but don't let that stop you. Take one bite at a time and start learning the power of influence and how you can use it to market your products and services to get your business down the road faster and farther than without it. So with no further ado, I want to go ahead and I got a little PowerPoint for us here tonight. I would like to tell everybody that at the end, we're going to have a great little promotion. We're going to be putting together a brand yourself boot camp. It's a 4-week boot camp. We do these so often. I recommend that you go ahead and put yourself on the waiting list. We'll give you the link at the end of this. It's going to be down in the description below too. If you're new, if you're a network marketer, a realtor, I don't care what you do, if you need to brand yourself, you need to position yourself as a leader by branding yourself. So you're going to have yourself head and shoulders above everybody else. Let's take network marketing, for instance. Everybody's pitching their little replicated website link that everybody's got. That's not going to get you as far unless you already have a lot of influence and affluence, and people already look up to you and respect and can't wait to follow you. Doesn't matter what you're doing. If you don't have that, I recommend looking into branding yourself, position yourself as a leader in the marketplace. That way that now you can attract people to you because you have, a front of success to show them. And so you can produce content, videos, blogs, all that stuff on your website. You can collect people's emails so now that you can market to them later. That's what it's all about, isn't it? So at the end, there's going to be a very special link. You're going to want to go ahead and put yourself on that waiting list if that's what you're looking to do. All right, so let's get right into the power of influence. I've literally been studying this for probably 15 years. I mean, not full time, but I dove into it. I dove into it 15 years ago, and I'm like, wow, this is really good stuff. And it changed my business from that day forward. And now it's really it's in everything I do. Like when I try to think of a slogan or how I'm going to sell a specific product, how can I pull these triggers of influence and how many can I pull all at once? So as we get into it, you're going to realize that there are 7 triggers of influence. So probably get a pen and a paper and at least write those triggers down, because those are the things that you want to study. And each one can help, really enhance your marketing abilities. So it's kind of like, this is like the secrets to the magic trick. If you know how the trick is done, it's not really magic anymore. So you're going to learn how the tricks are done. And what's kind of cool about that is you'll know that when they're being used on you. Okay, so you're going to see good marketers use these. And it's nice to know how to avoid them and not get sucked into them, into the magic of it all. So let's go ahead and get into the power of influence. So these are the two books, highly recommended. It's called Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. And then we've got Pre-Suasion, A Revolutionary Way to Influence and Persuade. Those are the two books there I get my information from. Seek them out on YouTube. Buy the books yourself. You should have these books. See, I have books because leaders are readers. I don't even got to read this whole thing. I just got to go pinpoint something like, oh, okay, this is excellent, and then focus on that little spot. Sometimes when I read a whole book, I lose it. So I kind of like to focus it, highlight it, get one specific golden nugget out of that book. I don't need all the wood chips. I just want the golden nuggets. So we're kind of going to get into that right now. So if you don't have them books, get them right now. I got mine on Amazon, so you can find them out there. They're available. They're not very much money. So the 7 triggers of influence used to be 6. The 7th one came out in this book, Pre-Suasion. The first 6 are the ones that I really learned, but I did kind of look into unity and I learned about it. So I'm going to get into that a little bit for you tonight on kind of what each one of these means and how you can maybe implement it. So write these down. I'm going to stay on this screen for a minute. I'm going to go through them real quick and you can write them down, and then we're going to cover each one of these briefly. Like I said, this is going to be a short and sweet little training just to plant the seed in your head that this is where you want to get going, and it'll help you. So number 1, reciprocity. Number 2, commitment and consistency. Number 3, social proof. Number 4, authority. Number 5, liking. Number 6, scarcity. And number 7, unity. So as we get into each one of these, just know that one of the things that helped me is when I started watching commercials or reading ads, and I started trying to find where are those influence triggers that they're trying to use. Usually they're using 1 or 2. So if they're really good, they could be using like 3 or 4 on you, though. It's really hard to just spin all those plates at once. But the more triggers that you're using or are being used on you, the more powerful that marketing is, and you're probably going to get the sale because it almost renders the prospect helpless. So now you're going to learn that this stuff that in the book, they talk about it, how this could be used for good and it can be used for bad. So if you're going to use it for bad, just maybe just turn it off right now, because this isn't for bad people. I don't want people out there learning how to scam people, because you could use it for bad. So you don't want to go down that road. Use it for good. Teach it to be used for good. It's like anything, fire, electricity, it could all be used to help you live, and it can be used to kill you. So, I mean, just know that this is fire. This is the real stuff. So as you're going through this, just let's make a commitment to each other that we'll both always use it for good. Okay, fair enough. All right, let's go on here. So let's get into reciprocity here. It's the principle that suggests that people give back to you the kind of treatment that they've received from you. If you do something first by giving them an item of value, a piece of information, or a positive attitude, it will all come back to you. The key is to go first. If you smile at a stranger, you get a smile back. If you don't get a smile back. That's essentially the rule. Whatever it is that you would like to get from a situation, you can increase your likelihood that it will be forthcoming if you provide it first. Okay, so let's think about a couple of things that people do in reciprocity. Sometimes they say, hey, if you join my email list, I'll give you a free ebook of information. So I'll give you this if you give me your email. That's a form of reciprocity. And speaking of that, anybody who's listening, if you're on Facebook or if you're on YouTube, In the comment section, just put the words "I am," and somebody from my team will get you the link to the free ebook, As a Man Thinketh. So that's a great book. And if you're new to being an entrepreneur, if you've been in for years, you should have that book. So I want to give you that gift. So if you're listening, type in the word "I am." And as we're talking about reciprocity, I'm teaching you how to implement that into your business. So it's like what I teach people. If somebody walks up, life's a lot about reciprocity, isn't it? I mean, if you want your spouse to treat you nice, do things for you, don't you want you need to do that for them, and get that back. I always tell people, if somebody walks up to you and flicks you in your nose, you're probably going to want to flick them in their nose at the bare minimum, right? So life's about reciprocity. So think of that. So when my kids were young, I would always my son loved baseball, and he would throw that rubber ball against the brick and he would get it, he'd throw it against the brick. And one thing I noticed, I was like, wow, if he throws it soft, it comes back soft. But if he throws it hard, it comes back hard. And that's kind of what life's about. Reciprocity. I like that it's the first one. I try to be very conscious of the word reciprocity when people are asking me for things. Do I want that in the future? If I'm asking them for things, am I willing to do that in the future? Reciprocity. It's a great, great power of influence. Number 2 is consistency. And I'm just going to run right through these because we all got a lot to do. And this is a recording. You can stop it, you can pause it, we don't have to drag it out. So, consistency. People will feel a desire to comply with a request if they see that it's consistent with what they've publicly committed themselves to in your presence. Commitment is right there. The implication there is to ask people to state their priorities, their commitments, the features of the situation that they think are most important, and then align your request or proposals with those things. The rule for consistency will cause them to want to say yes to you, to what you've already told, to what they've already told you that they will do, or what they do value. So like, let's just say consistency means that whatever you're asking them to do, you want to be consistent with your commitment level too. So don't ask somebody to do something you're not willing to do. That's number key on consistency. So people are willing to fight with somebody who's willing to fight with them. One of the things when I build teams, I always just tell people, hey, if you carry a brick, I'll carry a brick. Now we carried 2 bricks. We did it together. That is a power of influence. So, number 3, social proof. People will be likely to say yes to your request if you give them evidence that people just like them have been saying yes to it too. Boy, what's that? Is it Dr. Pepper? I'm a pepper. You're a pepper. John, don't you want to be a pepper too? We're all peppers here. That's a social proof. That's power of social proof right there. Most people don't want to be the lonely duck on the pond, the first duck, right? They want to think other people have drank the juice before them, right? And survived or done well or had some kind of result. For example, I saw a recent study that came from Beijing. If a manager put on the menu of the restaurant, these are our most popular dishes, each one immediately became 13 to 20% more popular. So just by saying, you've got 3 choices. Have you ever seen that when you're buying something? You've got 3 choices, and the one's highlighted saying most popular. This is the one everybody buys. It's in the middle. That is showing people social proof, and people will be attracted to that because other people have done it, or they perceive that other people have done it. Each one immediately became more popular. That's amazing. What I like about this, not only did a very small change produce a big effect, it was entirely costless, entirely ethical. It was only the case that these popular items were identified as popular items. That was enough to cause people to want to go along with what they saw as the wisdom of the crowd. Very interesting. Think of that. Social proof is one I like to use a lot. Um, in marketing because you can really point it out and use it to your advantage. Reciprocity is another good one because people don't see it coming. We used to have the people come in and they would the rainbow vacuum people. They'll come do the little demonstration. As soon as they walk up, they're handing you a candle or a bottle of soap or something that is very inexpensive compared to this $3,000 vacuum they're going to sell you. This little $5 gift is nothing. But now you feel like you have to at least let them give the demo, right? They just gave me a candle. I got to give them something, right? So moving along here, authority. Authority refers to the tendency of people to be persuaded in your direction when they see you as having knowledge or credibility on a topic. Kind of what we do here at Brand Abundance, the branding and marketing authority. So, what's interesting is how many people fail to properly inform their audience of their genuine credentials before launching into an influence attempt. It's a big mistake. A crucial point here with regard to authority is I'm not talking about being in authority and using that lever to move people in your direction. There are all kinds of problems associated with that, including resentment and resistance. I'm talking about being an authority, someone who is perceived as a credible source of information that people can use to make good choices. That's powerful. The best way for authority to work is somebody else gives you a when somebody else gives you, like, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Like a review, like when they give you a write-up, when they endorse you, like this person is great because they do this. So an endorsement by a third party is always more powerful, but you can give yourself authority. You can say, I've been doing this for the last 20 years, like Brand Abundance, 20 years experience, 4 trademarks under our belts, 5-star, 7-figure sales. Right there tells people that if I can do that with mine 4 different times, maybe I can help them. Who knows? But it's part if you start adding authority, social proof, reciprocity, and you start pinging all these different things at the same time, it renders people helpless. So moving along, we're going to get into liking. No surprise that people prefer to say yes to a request to the degree that they know and like the requester. So they must like you, so you got to befriend people first. That's probably why you should smile. A simple way to make things happen in your direction is to uncover genuine similarities or parallels that exist between you and the person you want to influence, and then raise them to the surface. That increases rapport. I used to call cold leads. I would call strangers all over the country, and in 45 minutes, I would have them in my business. I would have their credit card, their address, their email, their phone, and their social security number. Back then, you had to have socials to get people in. Now, generally, people can plug them in themselves before they earn 600. But back then, you had to get all that information. So you really had to form that liking with people. I used to love it. If anybody talked about fishing, baseball, or any sports, see, my son was in baseball. So any sport I could bring it in. Well, my son was baseball. We did travel baseball. If it was baseball, man, we'd really connect because we could really get in deep into that little bit of a liking. But what you do is it's kind of like you're going down, and then you're going to make this little mark here, a memory mark for both of you. Okay. And so you find a way to make that mark so that they remember you. And a way to do that is liking. We're like one another. Maybe it's just Facebook, but a lot of times people try to use it on the most ridiculous level because they'll like friend me up and like, hey, it looks like you like money. I like money too. Let's be friends. And that doesn't really work. So it has to be genuine. So if you can find like, oh, you like dogs. I love dogs. You like cats. I love cats. Sports, whatever it is. It could be anything that you guys have in common, but you have to sew that together. So you take that and then you kind of sew that together. Now there's this sew line of the liking, and that's how you build that up. Similarly, uncovering genuinely admirable or commendable features of a person and complimenting the person on those things will lead to liking. Like, wow, your hair looks amazing. I'm like, I know, just joking. Simple things that we can easily access to. Instead of burying them and keeping them under wraps, we mention those similarities. We mention those compliments that are genuine to provide, that establishes a rapport that leads to a yes. See, people buy from people that they like and trust. I've literally been at trade shows and had people buy because I I'm a good salesman. And they say it. It's like, I'm buying something because you're such a good salesman. I have to buy something. They want to buy something from me. I've had people give me $10 tips, and I'm like, oh, you don't have to do that. I want to do this. See, if you do it right and you learn how to build rapport, you create that liking, that is influence. And then you can use that to your advantage. Only if you're doing it for good, though. Remember, we talked about that. So make sure that you're doing it for good. So, scarcity. This one everybody knows about. We've all heard while supplies last, right? 3 days and the sale ends, right? There's a limited time sensitive. There's this, scarcity is the main one that's almost constantly used. You're going to find that everywhere. Once you start looking for it, you're going to be like, there it is, there it is, there it is. You should be using it. I use it. Scarcity. It's a powerful, influential tactic. People will try to seize those opportunities that offer them that are rare or scarce, dwindling in availability. That's an important reminder that we need to differentiate what we have to offer that is different from our rivals or competitors. That way we can tell people honestly, you can only get this aspect or this feature or this combination of advantages by moving in the direction that I am recommending. Scarcity, uh, USP, unique selling proposition. In sales, we learn USP. What's unique about what you're selling? That's the scarcity of it. You can get it here. It's this. Nobody else has it. That's probably, back, I really got out of the whole network marketing industry for a long time because for a good 10 years, everybody we called them had Me Too products. Well, now there's actually 3 or 4 out there that got really amazing products. They're scarce. They're the only company that have it. That to me is an advantage right there. So that's what I would be looking for in a network marketing company, is something that had scarcity, that was patented, that was unique only to that company, and nobody else could come around and compete with them or have it at Costco or Walmart or Sam's Club in 3 weeks at half the price. That's rough. All right. So here's the 7th and final one. This is the new one. This is the one I had to learn about, but it was easy to learn because he does a great job at painting the picture on what it really means. So, unity, it's about the categories that individuals use to define themselves and their groups, such as race, ethnicity, nationality, and family, as well as political and religious affiliations. A key characteristic of these categories is that their members tend to feel at one with, merged with the others. They are the categories in which the conduct one member influences the self-esteem of other members. Simply put, we is the shared me. When we belong or feel we belong to a group, we're likely to be more open to persuasion attempts. How he goes on to talk about this is like when your sports team wins, you say, we won. But when they lost, you say, they lost. So you remove yourself from the unity because they just lost. But when they win, we bring it together. So that's the best way I can probably share that with you tonight. Because like I said, I haven't completed this book, but I did dive into unity because I was like, wow, there's a 7th trigger. I had to find that out immediately. So unity, people want to be part of something. Back to network marketing. I remember there was people that would join our teams. They just wanted to be part of something. They were just bored or lonely, or there's lots of reasons people do things. It's not just because the product's amazing, or they may not even want the benefits of the product. They may not want to get rich, but they may be in it because of the unity. So that's a trigger of influence right there. Unity. You want to, become part of a group. That's the key. So, like I said, we are going to be short and sweet. We're at least 20 minutes in here. I don't see my timer anymore, but get these two books: Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion. Pre-Suasion, a revolutionary way to influence and persuade. You can use this in your video marketing. You can use it in your ads. You can use it in your Facebook post, your Instagram post. You can put these things to work for your products and services. That'll help you grow your business. I highly recommend diving into the power of influence. I want to thank you for your time tonight. You can schedule a free business evaluation with yours truly. You go to book.brandabundance.com, fill out the form, pick your time slot, and me and you will get on a Zoom for 15, 20 minutes, and we will see if there's something we can do to help boost your business. One of the key things, like I told you before, is the Brand Yourself 4-week boot camp series. We do these often. I only do it once I get enough people that on the waiting list, because it's a group thing, and I want people to learn from the group as well as myself. We do a Facebook group. It's just a nice, sweet, cozy little group, and we start talking to you about how you're going to brand yourself, start selling yourself. Quit selling your products. Stop doing that. Brand yourself, sell yourself instead. Sell yourself as the leader that other people are looking for. Sell yourself as somebody who's in the know, in the now, and people should follow you. So you got to think big. Sell yourself as a leader. Go to brandyourself.4weekbootcamp.com. So I do want to thank you for your time tonight. My name is Dave Bradbury, brandabundance.com, founder and lead project manager. Thanks for showing up. Put I am in the comments. We'll get you the free ebook. God bless you. Have a great evening. Bye.